are falling behind. Your friends have already started preparing for fantasy football this year. But lucky for you, they won't see this. Now, the following might surprise you, fellas, but Michael Thomas is going outside the top 30 wide receivers, and he even goes after Juju Smith-Schuster, who hasn't been relevant in 3 years. Now, there are two main reasons for this. The first is that Michael Thomas no longer has Drew Brees, but this is a non-issue because, believe it or not, in 10 games without Drew Brees in his career, he actually scores more fantasy points. Now, it's only 0.2 more, but he puts up 18.7 points per game without Drew Brees. And that includes games with Taysom Hill at quarterback, who's now a tight end. And this year, he'll have an upgrade from Hill to Jameis Winston. But now for the main concern with Thomas. He has missed 79% of his games the last 2 years, including not playing at all last year. However, it's the perfect time to buy Thomas because he's only expected to have medium injury risk, which is basically league average for playing a violent game like football this year. And on May 27th, beat writer Nick Underhill stated that he believes Michael Thomas is heading in the right direction for camp in July. Now, this is important for you to know because once he steps on the practice field in July, he's going to move out of the 6th round. He's no longer going to go as the wide receiver 34. You can start to expect him to hop up into the top 20 wide receivers. So draft him in the 6th round while you can. And now I'm not going to let this next guy sneak past you either. Brandon Cooks is going as the 29th wide receiver off the board, even though he has finished as a top 20 wide receiver in back-to-back seasons. But there's more. Cooks scored 31% more points when Davis Mills was the quarterback last year. In 12 games with Davis Mills, he scored 15.4 compared to 11.7 without. That 15.4 points per game last year would have actually ranked 13th in the NFL, right around Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans and Stephon Diggs. So the next time your friend tells you, yeah, but Davis Mills is the quarterback, you tell them that. He wasn't that bad last year. And Cook's production is reliable because of the targets. Mills targeted him 9.6 times per game last year. This was more than Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. Now, do you want to know about this year's secret stud? I give you Michael Pittman, who is ready to erupt this year. In 2021, he finished as the 22nd wide receiver overall, and he achieved this despite this following issue. His quarterback, Carson Wentz, was not good last year. 29th in accuracy rating, and 24% of Pittman targets were deemed uncatchable. That's not very good. But hey, now he gets Matt Ryan, who ranked 8th in quarterback accuracy last year. That's very nice. Plus, Pittman ranked 3rd in beating man coverage last year. So picture this. You get number 1, Ryan's accuracy, and number 2, Pittman's ability to get open, which leads to the 2022 eruption. But we aren't stopping here. You may be surprised to hear this, but this number right here, 140, is the amount of targets Darnell Mooney saw last year. 12 more than Jamar Chase. And now he goes as the 30th wide receiver off the board, which is after guys like Gabriel Davis and Allen Robinson. And here's why that's interesting. Both of these men are number 2 options on their team, while Mooney is the clear number 1 for the Bears, and now Allen Robinson is gone. And now check this out. In 5 career games without Allen Robinson, Mooney is averaging over 30% more points per game. And he's seeing a massive 9.6 targets per game, which would have ranked top 5 amongst wide receivers last year. Now listen up to avoid this mistake that your friends are making in drafts. Rookie wide receivers typically fall in drafts. Your friends prefer to take players with a track record, but this creates a major advantage for you. And Garrett Wilson falls into this bucket, even though he was taken top 10 overall in this year's draft. And he earned an elite 26% target share in college, which is top 22% of all time. And he did this while playing with the following guys: Chris Olave, who was a first-round pick this year that the Saints traded up for; Jameson Williams, also the Lions traded up for him in the first round; and soon-to-be first-rounder Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I know what you might be thinking, Jameson Williams played for Alabama. No, his first 2 years were with Ohio State, and he transferred out because he couldn't get on the field, in part because of Garrett Wilson. And now Wilson goes as the 49th wide receiver off the board, which is way after guys like Devonta Smith and Brandon Ayuk, who are both 3rd options on run-first offenses. But as you can see in the tiers, I have Garrett Wilson as my 31st overall wide receiver, which is way above the average draft position of 49th. And if you want access to those tiers, my top 200 wants and avoids list, and a whole bunch more, you can get the Supreme Draft Sheet linked below as a free add-on thanks to PrizePicks.com. You just use the code SAL22 on PrizePicks.com, and I'll email you the cheat sheet with weekly updates. Check out the link in the description to learn more. Now, what if I told you the 140th wide receiver off the board has top 10 upside? His name is Antonio Brown. And before you say no, check this out. In 2020, Brown was a free agent. He was saying he wants to retire, and he was going outside the top 100 wide receivers. Well, that year, he finished as the 23rd overall wide receiver. But wait, it gets better. In 2021, his 17.3 fantasy points per game ranked 8th, top 10 amongst all receivers. Now, fellas, I know there's obvious concerns with Brown. Will any team even take a chance on him in 2022? 2022. And he's only played 16 total games the last 3 years. However, Brown currently goes undrafted in fantasy drafts. There is literally zero risk to taking him with your final pick. Now, these are the guys you want, your must draft wide receivers for 2022. But if you want to also see the running backs that you need to take before your league mates do, check out this video right here. And then tell your league mates that Adrian Peterson this year, yeah, he's still a good fantasy pick.